This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We must increase vaccinations among the unvaccinated with new vaccination requirements.
It's not going to work. We have other countries with much higher rates of vaccination, and they're seeing record surges of COVID because that's what viruses do.
Many of us are frustrated with the nearly 80 million Americans who are still not vaccinated.
Them, their freedom. I want my freedom to live.
Rest in peace, Wheezy.
We are going to need the people to engage in age-old American tradition of simply saying, no, I'm not going to comply. Now, what are you going to do about it? It never stops. They want things to get worse because they want you to suffer so that they can grandstand on your suffering and push for even more control.
They have criminalized freedom. They've made getting sick illegal.
This isn't about COVID any more than the Patriot Act was about Al-Qaeda. It's about government asserting more control over your lives, your rights, your properties, and in this case, your bodily autonomy.
It has a lot of vaccinated people alarmed because of the power grab that's involved.
Enough is enough. We better change our tune and start resisting.
Government makes up less than 1% of the population. If even 5 or 10% of Americans simply refuse to comply, all of this goes away.
Absolutely, this is the hill worth dying on.
We haven't given the statutory authority to any agency to do this kind of thing.
There is no such thing as government power. There's only what we are willing to comply to.
We're in the tough stretch, and it could last for a while.
That's what this has always been about. It's never about what they say it is. It's about controlling you. And it ends when we decide to end it.
This BS is going to stop.
It's time for us to
There's
wake
only
up.
one way to fight back against this, and it's mass non-compliance.
This is the most important thing to fight against.
You can help stop this. You are the power.
There's nothing, not a single thing we're unable to do if we do it together.
The following is a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
Remember a simpler time when it was okay to be weird, have fun, and think for yourself?
Well, those days are over. The art of conversation itself is dead. Sacrificed on the altar of divide and conquer and disguised as political correctness and spared feelings. I believe that unity can only come from truth, and that the only way to find truth is by exploring and embracing our valuable differences and having civil, open-minded, and uncomfortable discourse. Conspiracies, politics, religion, and all the taboo topics are mainly just praise you don't bring up around the Thanksgiving dinner table. We are here to literally change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. So if you're easily offended, put your big girl panties on and buckle up, Buttercup, because you chose to be here. I'm Dan Smots, you are the power, and this is The System Is Down.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, I would like to thank you all for coming to the funeral. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've said a lot of bad, terrible things that I regret. But tonight is going to be something else. Welcome back to the least comfortable show on the web. It is The System Is Down, where we talk about all the uncomfortable topics like conspiracies, politics, religion, all those things in the intro, all the things that trigger you, all the things that get your panties in a wad and in your blood in a boil, and I'm guessing that tonight will be of no exception, because we've got some dudes on, and we're going to talk to them. But before we do, I got to remind you guys about... Alright, first, kill the music. That's enough of that. I got to remind you guys about our lovely sponsors, and I hope that I set this video up right. You guys, in the Downers Club, people like Level Zero, Leela Torno, Trenton Campbell, Vanzot Media, Stefan Hartman, Pavlok Chain Serrato, Brian Johnson, Anthony Peoples, Carolina B, Lincoln Stack, Jack Casey, Vari, Andrew Sitchling, Kyle Evans, Craig DaCosta, Joe Kabinski, Anthony Meyer, Derek Evans, Mitchell something, John Motormat, Aaron Stute, Nathan Sipes, Brian something, McWilliams, Justin Zelinsky, William Wells, and others. If you would like to get your name on that list and get all the bonus content, including the after parties, which we might do one today. I'm not sure how this will go. I don't know if we'll make it that far. But the after parties, all the extended content, everything else, more weird, more raw, more offensive bonus shit. And the Downers Club at patreon.com/The System Is Down. That's what also gets the show, keeps it getting bigger and better and more beautiful every single week. And makes me go from amazing guests like Tom McDonald, Juanita Broderick, David Thibodeau to... Some dudes. But we're going to also talk about the System is Down store. You can buy some shirts now. Get your sweet Unity Camp Summer of Love shirt, Healing and Cleansing by Any Means Necessary, Biden and Harris shirt, over at thesystemisdown.tv. You can also get I Heart New York. You know what it is. And you can get Dare to Resist Drugs and Violence shirt with, of course, grenades and vaccines and police brutality on there. So go check that out at thesystemisdown.tv. And also, this show is sponsored and brought to you by The Royal Green, which is a book by Jack Casey. It's about, fantasy and shit, and I hear it's good. I would know if I was a literate individual. If you are a literate individual and you find yourself able to read, go to theroyalgreen.com and buy a book from a man who is has the balls to support this show. He also has a brand new one, the third in the series. Trilogy so far, I imagine, but it's called Crowned by Gold, and it looks like an ice cream cone with bling necklace around it, emerging from some sort of vagina portal. You can get that at theroyalgreen.com. Once again, that's theroyalgreen.com. And lastly, but not leastly, as you know, we are sponsored by My Brave Botanicals. You can get your free ounce of kratom. You can get your Delta 8 THC, your colloidal silver, your CBD, your vitamins, your minerals, all the wonderful things that the government hates that you have easy access to now. You can get that delivered right to your door at freeounceofkratom.com or mybravebotanicals.com. And if you don't know what kratom is, it's the thing that gives me like a nice glow typically when I'm doing this show. However, for tonight, I will break my sobriety because I think I'm going to need it. Again, I've done some good stuff in my life, and I've done some bad stuff in my life. I would like to apologize for all the bad stuff right now. But welcome to the low point. My guests today are some like Nazi assholes, and we've talked about a lot of bad things on this show. We've talked about a lot of conspiracy theories, but none as bad as the Tower Gang podcast. Tower Gang, Toad, something, and Fat Dave, guys who are so proud of their work in life that they won't even use their real names. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. Your production quality is slightly better than ours.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, and real cool that I've been doing this for like 6 years, working my ass off, getting all these amazing guests on, and you guys come out and you just like shit on tape, and everybody loves it. Kudos. I applaud you. I don't hate you as much as I let on. I'm just I don't know. I'm amazed. I'm genuinely amazed by you guys' level of success. So good on you.
Well, so we. It's not like we set out to do anything amazing, and then we're like, oh man, we have an idea that's gonna take off. Like that did not happen.
You're saying you didn't sit down and write out like this 5-year plan, like we're gonna make dick jokes. Step 1, we're gonna say the N-word just enough times, and then we're going to be successful. Like we're going to like poke at blue check marks until they hate us enough to come on the show, and that's how we will get our fame. But yeah, tell me a little bit about the story, guys. Like where did this all come from? I know that back in the day it was like Lions of Liberty started, and Jason Stapleton and Tom Woods and all these respectful libertarians and everything, and I kind of came up under that. Yeah, well, he kind of changed that up a bit, but I came out and started doing, a little bit more edgy stuff, just having some fun. And then you guys come out and you're just like balls to the wall, don't care about any of the respectability. So tell me a little bit about the story.
Well, it kind of started out where we had Tower Gang group chat where we were actually doing Twitter towers, which basically you string together a series of single letter tweets to spell something out that might be more offensive than something you get away with in a tweet with just saying the word.
Right.
And it was kind of, I don't even know exactly. Fat Dave might know more about how the towers actually started themselves. Because when I got into it, it was more like we were towering journalists and calling them enemy of the people and doing a lot more offensive stuff than that as well. But
Dude, I got started after you, Toad. Like I came in because I had a buddy of mine. Yeah. I was because I was just on Instagram for the longest time, and I only got on Twitter. And I thought about tweeting about this the other day. I got on Twitter just to like talk about sports, and then I realized just how and I was already an anarchist, libertarian, all over on Instagram. And
Are you allowed to talk about sports if you're an anarchist libertarian? Isn't there like some rule there?
I've been trying to do it, and I'll have to just give like before I tweet about it, I'm like disregard if you don't like sports, and then like just proceed just to talk shit about some team or I don't care
So you have to say disregard, otherwise you'll have a bunch of people saying we don't care about your sports ball fag or whatever.
Exactly. It's like Jesus, guys.
Yeah.
It's like not everything I tweet you have to like interact with or like. Okay, let me just. This is just my outlet for my shitty opinions to come out.
Right. It's like this is the least like troubling thing I've posted this month, so why are you guys getting all upset about it?
Well, maybe not. Fat Dave is not allowed to tweet about sports anymore. I don't think after he made fun of the death of a hockey player, which
do tell.
So I actually got the way I used Fat Dave because I did use that my original Twitter that I entered Tower Gang on. I was my name and like last name and my picture was on there. And but I was still just as much of an asshole, like go around. I would still do shit posts and everything. But SportsCenter posted a thing about some fucking Russian guy in the Canadian Hockey League got hit in the head with a puck and died. And so me being the shitlord I am, like just commented, "Hey man, just walk it off," because like that's what you always say whenever some guy gets hurt, just walk it off. Yeah. And I didn't realize the amount of ire and hate and contempt that hockey fans hold towards anybody that does not like hockey. And they destroyed my mentions and then got so crazy that they doxed me and started tweeting at my work at that time. And I lost my job because
just for saying walk it off.
Yeah, and then
there's more to that.
Well, like I said, I was still a shit poster at the time, regardless of if I was behind a pseudonym or not. And so they found some other
hold up. We got some coming in here. What is this?
That's so
That's right. This is happening, guys.
So amazing.
This is happening, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Maybe Josh. Oh. I thought it was just gonna be Josh Smith just covered in spoons, and he's just like, "What's up, retards?"
Covered in spoons.
What's up, retards?
No, he did. It's just.
What's up, bitch?
I switched my cameras wrong. Now it's all fucked up. Now I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
There's Josh Smith.
My camera looks like shit too. I don't know why.
Yeah. Hold up. Let me smash you in here. There you go. Hey,
Josh is a boomer, so he doesn't know anything about tech.
Dude, my camera's solid. I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
Yeah, I don't know. I need to get my my program figured out because it's
you need a StreamYard, man.
Yeah, I know.
Way better.
Says the guy who's never used what I'm using or doesn't know what I'm using, but cool.
I know that you're using Ecamm, but I don't use it because I don't have Apple.
Yeah.
Not a retard.
So I know we only have Josh for a bit, but I wanted to bring him in here to explain to the people who don't know and shouldn't care what happened this last week, because I thought it was was quite amusing for the autistic circle jerk that
Oh,
that
Jesus
it was.
fucking Christ. Are you kidding me? Well, here's what happened, dude. Several months ago, someone came to me and said, "Hey, are you going to have this guy on your show?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I was going to. You know, he's a $100 a month donor to my show. He's an executive producer listed in my credits." And they're like, "Well, he beat the shit out of this girl and put her in the hospital and blah 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 blah." So I reached out to her. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what we're talking about? We're talking about this?
I thought we were talking about trolling Hudak.
That is what I was talking about. But hey,
Oh, okay, we can go back to the
if
Hudak
you want to
thing.
talk
I
about
thought you were
spousal
talking about all
abuse,
the
that seems
drama,
like the Josh thing to bring up. Like,
Listen, I
obviously,
thought you were
everybody wants to talk about spousal abuse with Josh
I thought
Smith.
you were talking about the fucking drama, bro. I mean, it's like it's everywhere. Okay. Oh, what happened last week?
Okay, so
I
to
brought-
clarify,
here.
Josh didn't actually see the clip that I just played of Hudak coming in. So
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I was like, Hudak is $100 a month donor. Man, he's
right. No, I was a little confused too.
No.
Give the Hudak story, because I genuinely have no idea who this dude is, but I find the back and forth drama hilarious as an outsider to all of it. I'm not sure I want to weigh into it.
John Hudork was the founder of the Fakertarians. And he used to be my friend, used to help on my campaigns and shit. And then he got into it with the Mises Caucus because they weren't removing people fast enough from their group that he didn't like. And then he went off on his own and started talking a bunch of shit. He used to be a moderator for the Mises Caucus page. And went off, started talking a bunch of shit about the Mises Caucus, started, calling all my friends racist and Nazis and all that shit. And I just stopped talking to him first. Then I started going at him because he was just lying about shit.
Yeah.
Then he got all mad because I've had people on my show that doesn't like Ryan Dawson, started calling me a Nazi sympathizer. He sent messages to the LNC to have me removed from the LNC. He's cultivated a culture in his group, his Facebook group, of people that literally talk shit about my family and all this stuff. And so I was, after the last Ryan Dawson episode I had, he went around spreading all kinds of bad shit about me. So I put out a call to action. I was like, "Hey, Fakertarian, send your best guy over to break the cycle. I'll give you 1 hour to make your fucking case why I shouldn't have people on my show that I want to have on my show that you don't like."
They didn't send Archie?
I said send Archie Flowers, send John Hudak. I said send that retarded.
You can
British
stack
guy.
them all up, put them in one coat, and make them look like a real human.
Yeah.
I wish the cat came on. I wish it was the cat. That would have been the best.
God, that would have been fucking hilarious. No, so I never planned to have any of them on. All of his friends are like, "Oh, he's too afraid to fucking debate him." No, I'm not. I don't want to debate the guy. He's a fucking idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. And so I got this plan together, and I reached out to Dickie Walnuts first.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yo, dude, I have this idea, right? Like, I'm gonna bring Hudak on."
He just meant he was masturbating.
Pretty much. And I was like, I want to bring this guy on real quick. And I want, I said, look, we got to have the Undertaker theme, right? It's got to be the Undertaker theme song, and we got to have flashes of the Tower Power Hour. Come on,
you're gonna have to go back and watch my video because I totally ripped you off and
I will.
But
I will.
But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on the DAC, but I did find it. I did find it hilarious that you deplatformed a guy who, like, the fact that he would go on your show and have you on his show when he's giving you crap for people you've had on your show. So you're guilty by association, but he can go on your show and back and forth. Like, I don't know where the line is there.
They're the biggest fucking clout chasers, and you could tell they're clout chasers because they had no clout and they can't get more than 100 views on any of their fucking podcasts. So I mean, that's all they're doing. They're going after people with bigger platforms than them to try and get a bigger platform, and it fails miserably every fucking time. Every time.
Now, before I hit you up, Josh, I thought about hitting up Hudak and being like, do you want to come on and surprise them and then kicking them off right after? I was bringing him in and then kicking him out.
I was hoping.
Oh, that would have been so funny if you brought him on to surprise them and then kicked him off.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
my God.
Now, the reason I don't is because this is not my beef at all. I don't care or know these people at all, so I'm not like looking to be a complete asshole. I know that he's been a dick to you and a dick to other people. From my understanding, like, I trust you more than what I've heard of him, but I have no personal beef with the guy. I'm not going to bring him on and shame him just for the lulz. But
that would have been the funniest shit, though.
It was really hard.
I thought you were gonna. I thought you would bring him on and kick us off, and I thought that would be really. I thought that would be really funny. Like I would be like, "Oh man, props to you."
That
That's hilarious.
crossed my mind too. But
if you want to tank your ratings,
it would have been. It would have been way. No, it would have.
Then I would have had to talk
funnier.
to Hudak for like an hour, and I don't know anything about the guy. I'd be like, "So who are you exactly, and what have you done?"
I'd be like, "Let me tell you about Josh Smith and the Magnets, and let me tell you about the Nazis." And it's like, dude, what a boring show that would have been. Holy shit.
Yeah. So, Josh, how do you feel about magnets these days?
Oh man, I mean, how the fuck do they work, bro? You know what I mean?
Yes, I was just gonna say that, man. Dude, isn't fucking Violent J? Isn't Violent J not doing too well?
I don't know, dude. I haven't checked.
Has he ever been doing well?
I haven't checked out the Juggalo scene in quite some time, if you know what I mean, man. So,
oh man,
that's because the festival, the Gathering of the Juggalos, was canceled last year, right, Josh?
It was, yeah.
I think the last time I listened to ICP was when The Great Malenko came out.
I have never listened to ICP at all.
That was probably, I want to say it was like almost 25 years ago, dude. So, long time.
Well,
but they had a song where he says, "I'll walk up and dip my nuts in your macaroni." So it's kind of cool, you know what I mean?
As you do, obviously. But guys, if you haven't figured it out, this is going to be a different show than you're used to on this channel. But sometimes you just gotta let loose and have fun. And I love that we have a Liberty Sphere that is having fun, making jokes, and busting balls, and able to actually just be dudes with each other every now and then instead of. Now let's talk about the non-aggression principle for a second.
Oh, Jesus, fuck it! I gotta go. See ya. I'm out of here. No, I am doing a show with Grandpa tonight. I apologize competing for ratings with you.
Yeah, it's all good. I know that half of my people will have us both open in tabs and go back and forth and see who's the most entertaining. So the race is on, but everybody go check out Josh at
Hell yeah.
/Fight the Despots. Whatever.
Yeah.
Who do you got on tonight, man?
YouTube.com/Fight the Despots. I have Grandpa on, who was the gentleman who went back and forth with Shane Hazel. They had that big that big fight, and then they were supposed to do the debate and stuff. So
because I want to leave this and go listen to that. So
yeah, he's cool, man. He's like big time war vet, and seems like to me like a cool guy. I don't know what their beef was over. I just know what the beef like how it played out. And I've only had Shane on my show to talk about his side, so I figured it'd only be fair to bring Grandpa on and let him talk about his, and then we could talk about Afghanistan too, which is great. It's always a fun topic.
That was the supposed like doxing or something, right? I think it had something to do with that when he was trying to like get on Shane's show. I don't know that much about it, but it was something to do with that, I think.
Yeah, something like that, man. But they're cool, dude. So, but I'm gonna go and hop on with him, man. I love y'all.
You
cool.
too, man.
Thanks, man. I'm sorry, I was reading chats like you. Sure. I'll see you later, man. Everybody check out Josh.
Later,
no,
guys.
don't watch us instead.
That's right. Check him out tomorrow.
Love you, Josh.
We'll be there.
Love you.
See you.
Bye,
man.
retards.
Peace, man.
Kiss your 12 kids for me. All right, so
Dan, that was so great. Thank you for doing
that. No problem.
I didn't know what it was going to be, although I kind of thought it was going to be Josh. I was like, you're not going to have Hudak on, like.
Yeah,
what the fuck is that?
I don't know. Like, if I had the guy on, it wouldn't be in that manner. I would have him on to give his side or whatever, because I was genuinely looking forward to the conversation. I totally understand why Josh would do what he did, because it's like, fuck you. Like, if the guy came at me as hard as Josh has said he's come at him, then I would do the exact same thing as Josh. But I was looking forward to hearing what the story is and getting both sides to it, but I'm sure we could listen to 25 hours of either Josh's show or Hudak's show if we were so inclined to inflict self-harm upon ourselves. But there are easier ways to do that, like having you guys on tonight. But so back to you. That's it for the interruptions. I promise. I just had to get that out of my system. I was like, it was a couple days ago. I think I probably smoked a bit, and then I was like, oh, it'd be really fucking funny if shit. Now I got to spend time doing that, and everything is like for the joke that lasts like 10 seconds, and most people don't understand the reference. It's like such a layered autistic Liberty infighting joke that most people don't give a shit.
But the ones that do get it, they'll love it.
Yes.
They're gonna be like, this is the best shit ever.
Exactly. The ones that are here for the WWF or whatever it is of libertarianism. But yeah,
inside baseball, man.
So what is it about you guys that pushes you to be such terrible people?
Dude, I was thinking about this the other night when we had Spike Cohen on, and he basically took us to the woodshed. And it was just like,
he did, yeah.
You guys are terrible, like, and I disavow you and all this stuff. And I was like, we kind of grew up in this basically with the internet, with the fucking 4chan, with Reddit, and all these things where we saw people. I mean, the troll became such a great joke because I mean. And that's how I got to like doing that, and then listening to comedy, and not just like, you know, I like Brian Regan and shit, but I also like I really like,
even though he is good.
Sorry, that's not a good angle.
Yeah, he's great. I love him. But then Tom Segura, yeah. Sorry, this is because I'm on a phone. If everybody like wonders,
is Hudak coming in now? That would be quite the quite the twist.
No, sorry,
but like. Anthony Jeselnik, Tom Segura, the ones that like would do really dark humor and troll and just like really mess with people, that really always made me laugh so hard. So basically what I do, and I'm guessing this is the same for Toad, what we do makes us laugh, and so we just kind of think it's funny, and apparently enough people like it to where they'll watch a podcast on it.
Yeah. And I totally get that. Like, how old are you guys?
I'm 25.
Okay, and Toad?
I'm 36, so like I did not really go. I look awesome, don't I?
Yeah, you look like you haven't aged a day past 6 months. So just got a little bigger and hairier, you know.
I had a full
you look like
head
a fetus.
Of hair,
that's what I'm trying to say. You could be aborted anytime now.
Full head of hair when I was born, and now I'm bald. So.
And you manscape to make sure you're not very hairy.
Yeah. I got to make sure that the carpet matches the drapes, man. So, actually, I just keep it trim, man.
I don't care. I don't care. Stop telling me about your balls. This is not your show. Stop talking about your manscaping.
I thought that's what you wanted.
The host introduces like, here's Toad, and he's like, well, let me tell you about my cleansing habits and my balls. Yeah.
You definitely want to hear about my asshole. So
if you guys aren't familiar with the Tower Power Hour, it's this times 12 because they have like 25 hosts on this show, and they rotate in and out as is convenient. But you guys are kind of like the core as far as like starting, not necessarily starting, but the ones that are always there, right?
Yeah. That's how we try to set it up so that me and Toad are always going to be on the show unless something else is literally like comes up. Yeah. But yeah, me and Toad kind of run, like I run the Twitter and he kind of runs the YouTube stuff. He gets it going. But so we're always on the show. Mm-hmm. Then we add in Jose Galison. We add in Clint from Liberty Lock Pod, Reed Coverdale, Josh Smith will come on sometimes. Mm-hmm. Nick Ashley will come on sometimes. So it's like we try to like get these guys in because at the beginning, we were kind of like piggybacking off of Clint and Reed and Jose and Nick.
Yeah.
And then now Jose and Nick always say they're kind of piggybacking off of us now, but it was not. I
thought about having Nick on, but, you know, it goes against my no blacks policy. So I just don't know what to do.
Dude, we struggle with it every episode with him on there. We struggle because we're just like, man, I mean, you're pretty cool, but you're black, dude.
It's tough, man. No, Nick is definitely not black. Where does that joke come from? Like that he is black? Is it like in his heritage or what?
He's Italian.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it.
It started as a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started as a joke that people didn't realize and he would say this, he was like, people don't know what ethnicity I am. They literally can't guess it. And he was and so people are like saying he's Turkish and people saying like he's fucking Mexican. And he was just like, dude, I'm just an Italian dude. So I'm still black, but you know.
Right. Yeah. So, and I have done, for what it's worth, I'm not going to make the same mistake as Spike. I disavow anything that I say or anything that anybody says on this episode that I have set up and created myself and have made happen. This is not my fault. I take no responsibility. However, I've had like tons of black people on my show. It's a joke. But let's talk about that a bit. Like, because I grew up in kind of the same, not even the same generation necessarily. I'm 33, so I'm like right in the middle of old man and little boy. But which old man looks more like a little boy than
that's your preferred threesome? You're Lucky Pierre in that.
What's up?
You're Lucky Pierre in that threesome. Is that what you're saying?
I don't.
He keeps trying to make this Lucky Pierre thing happen. It happened like we had this in our show like on episode like 5. He came with this Lucky Pierre thing, and he keeps saying. I mean, also this is the guy that talks about the milking tables and I mean he just knows every in and out of every sex position. And he's a virgin. It's crazy. I don't know how to do it.
That's why I know so much about it.
He's all book smarts. All book smarts, no street smarts.
Exactly.
It's called autism. But I was saying, like, we're kind of like in the same vein of, like, I grew up, like, with the internet and all that shit, MySpace, and loved that. That was, like, the Wild West days of the internet where you just said things and like, the millennial humor of just, I'll say something stupid so many times that it'll eventually become funny. And that was just kind of the humor at the time.
Pretty much.
Or I'll just say the darkest thing that I can think of, completely irrelevant to anything going on in reality. I'll just blurt it out there and laugh at it because it makes people uncomfortable. So I totally get that. But how does that translate in today's day and age? I'm not sure. Also, I loved, like, what's his name? Anthony Jeselnik was one of my favorites, and like Louis C.K. and stuff like that. So I always liked the dark humor, and the drier the better. So, So how does that work today? Like, do you feel like you're putting it out there in order to keep the dream of racist jokes alive, or like just doing it because you don't give a shit and you know that this is all your days are numbered as a podcast that drops the N-word so many times?
Well, I mean, I kind of like that is the impression that we give everyone, at least, which is kind of true because we do all that. We also do, as Jose says, we do like half pee-pee poo-poo and half big brain time on the show. So we weave in like, the ridiculous humor, the offensive humor throughout the serious discussion, I guess, if you want to say. We're trying to be, I guess, like Legion of Skanks combined with part of the problem.
So you're like Legion of Skanks without the comedy is what you're saying.
Dude, we literally, and that's what a lot of people have like will be like, y'all aren't funny, and it's like, well, we're laughing. We have
don't fucking listen. We're just dudes hanging out chatting. If you don't want to listen to our chat, we're not making you.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, we love well, speaking personally, I love comedy, just all types of comedy. I'll listen to anything, and I'll try to find the funny in everything. And so whenever, like, I tweet or, like, I say something super offensive, I'm like, this is funny to me, and I know there's a comedic part of this that is true. And also just trolling itself, like seeing people get upset. Like I literally had just a couple minutes, like an hour ago, the thing with Nicki Minaj came up where she's against the vax now, and people are all shitting on her. Yeah, I don't know if you saw this, but Nicki Minaj is really against the vaccine.
Good. Great.
Yeah, and I think isn't it because like her cousin's husband her cousin's fiance or something like had his balls swell up and he became infertile, and then
after taking the vax.
I mean, Nicki Minaj has so many injections already. She might pop if they tried to stick her anyway. But she's swollen up bigger than her brother is. I think, great. If she wants to be against it, great. The more, the merrier, in my opinion.
But and what's funny is she's getting really into like anti-vax, whatever, just against the COVID vaccine. And she tweeted out a video of Tucker Carlson talking about her, saying that people are getting upset at her because she's just trying to be an individual and everything. And
like
people
Kanye.
are saying like, yeah, it literally was like that. And so people said, were telling her in her mentions, which was really funny, is like, hey, he's a white nationalist. He's a white supremacist. Don't you know that?
And it's just like Hiker said that, I think.
Yeah.
Said that about Tucker Carlson or what?
They said that about Tucker Carlson. They were like, Nikki, you don't understand. Tucker Carlson's a white nationalist. You shouldn't be retweeting him. And like, it's like, Jesus Christ. And so I tweeted out, at first we had Larry Elder, and now Nicki Minaj is part of the black face of white supremacy. And to me, that's a troll, because people look at that, and I have people in my mentions right now like, "You're terrible. You're a scum. How can you believe that?" And I'm like,
it's
Jesus
a
Christ.
joke. Like,
Yeah,
I'm the
exactly.
one saying you guys are retarded for saying Larry Elder, a black man, is the black face of white. Like, do you not hear yourselves? And like, and that's the thing with like racist jokes or quote unquote racist jokes or whatever. It's like, it's inclusion, because we know that black people are smart enough to understand what jokes fucking are, and they don't need your goddamn protection from Tucker Carlson or from white dudes chatting and you know, saying things that are slightly offensive to a bunch of college kids that run our culture at this point.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like my angle for this, like why I want to be doing this. It's basically, I've just always kind of wanted to continue that kind of like hanging out with the bros type of culture, I guess if you want to call it that, even though I was always kind of a nerd and whatever. It's kind of the same thing where engineer, we're both engineers, like throughout, you know, high school. Like I was growing up in the 90s kind of, so I was into, you know, Simpsons, South Park, like getting into that type of comedy.
Right.
And then it was kind
We're
of
the generation that grew up on South Park, and now we can't say retarded. Like,
right, exactly.
It was like every 5 words was retarded, and like either they were saying it or they were being it. Like that was kind of the point, just making fun of everything, because jokes, guys, jokes. Because like, in how much more united were we at the time when we were okay making fun of each other? Our country was like way more united. We could rally around certain things, like not even consciously, like subconsciously, because we were treating each other like equals instead of focusing on race and gender and bullshit.
Yeah,
the thing with me, it's like nothing's off limits, or nothing should be off limits, because like and I said this about like 9/11, the 20th anniversary just happened, and the thing I always like to say is like the funniest 9/11 joke was written on 9/12, because it probably fucking was, and like some dude like was like, this is terrible, but here's something fun, and this is actually kind of like an Anthony Jeselnik type of thing, like where like he used to, I don't know if he still does, but he used to, whenever there was a school mass shooting or somebody's like kid died, he would literally tweet the day of like some terrible ass shit.
The
but it was
Boston
so
Marathon
funny
bombing,
because,
I remember that one.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
His
And
whole joke about Eric Clapton's kid was is hilarious.
Yeah.
And the he had one on when the the Dark Knight shooting, whatever. When that came out,
Aurora?
he was like, other than that, how was the movie?
Or you have some people like Ari Shafir tweeting about Kobe the day he died, and saying like, "Fuck the Lakers, he deserved it because he was a rapist." It was just like,
well, that's not so much a joke as it is just an observation, maybe, I guess, or an opinion. I don't know, but yeah. So to clarify, for people that aren't familiar with you guys' content and stuff like that, if they're just dipping their toe in the water, if they just watch your intro video, they might get the wrong impression. But are you guys racists? Are you anti-Semites? Like, just like I like to clear the air just so there's no confusion, because I've had people on my show where I'd be like halfway through the conversation, I'm like, oh wait, maybe they are. I'm not sure, and, which is whatever, because they didn't convert me, so we're safe. But
I don't know. I'm a skinhead, and Fat Dave is from Alabama, so I don't know.
It's the funniest part.
That's all
is
it
like
takes.
people, and like we'll make jokes about us being in the KKK, but no, like we're not racist. Like we literally will have like we had Maj Touré on,
right?
Like we had Dave Smith. Dave Smith's a fucking Jew. Like we had Robbie the
why do you have
Fire,
to put fucking
Jew.
before Jew every time, man? I don't get it.
By the way, this is a great joke. I always love. I can't remember who said this, but
is it Louis
they're
C.K.?
talking about the one about where you put the fucking at, and that the black people have figured out you put the fucking before, or like was it after or before? It was after. It's like these Asian motherfuckers. Instead of we're like, these fucking Asians, man. Like, it's like it changes.
It sounds
the
less
whole-
threatening if you say it after, because
I was like the fucking before or after eating, before or after showering. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
yeah, it makes sense that you wouldn't understand how comedy works. But there's you guys did have Spike on the other day, which hat off to Spike for being the realist among us, in my opinion.
Hell yeah.
And I loved that you guys, you know, you were kind of bitches.
Played your
'cause
video because you paid us.
What's that?
Or we mentioned your video at least because you paid us.
Oh, yeah. It would have came up eventually.
It would have.
Probably.
But yeah, what was I saying? Severely
Something with
ADHD
Spike
and
being the
autistic.
realist.
Yeah, Spike being the coolest, and to the point where he lovingly forced you guys to submit on a lot of your principles of being assholes. And I also want to applaud you guys when you were doing the horrible game. I made a note of this. I said I want to applaud you on when he said the 5.8 to 6 million. Just in passing, I watched you all bite your tongue at the same time. No joke.
I said this in our chat afterwards, in our group chat. I was like, dude, I was wanting so bad to be like, seems a little high. Like, I just couldn't do it. I'm glad somebody caught that, because I just
every
myself,
single one of you.
like,
I meant to get a screenshot. You're like.
That
I mean, it's a cheap joke at that point, but good job. You didn't
I
do
think
it.
that one would have been okay. I think I don't know. We've thrown the 6 million joke out there in a couple other episodes where we thought that it wouldn't fly, right? And it wound up flying. Like what we're kind of doing is we're kind of trying to like see how based some of our guests are. If you want to look at it like that,
Just poke the bear, testing the waters a bit.
Push them to the limit. Yeah, we're like, I don't know if Spike's gonna just leave or something, but
right.
I did want to play
so
that
you're
game
dog
that we
whistling,
had.
you would say. You're dog whistling to see if they are dogs that will respond to your signal.
That's true. It's almost true that it's. I never thought about it like that. We're dog whistling. We're dog whistling comedy.
It's a
but,
racist
like, really,
joke
really
dog whistle. Are you cool with this? Just want to know. If you respond in kind, we will proceed, and things will get worse for you.
But it's not like something. It's like this is a thing you do whenever you kind of meet new friends. Like maybe not so far on the racist part, but you do. Like you'll make a joke,
This
and
is
you'll be
something
like
you do when you make new friends, quote unquote.
Maybe this is just me, and I'm just like, oh, everybody does this, right? Like nobody does that, man.
Well, I don't know,
Like
because
everybody. I just feel like everybody goes out like they're making a new friend, and they'll like test the waters, like how comfortable can I be with this person?
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do, but we're trying to see how far can we push them.
Yeah.
And like I felt like we pushed Spike to his edge of at least he can be publicly, which
Right.
I felt good with.
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to play that game tonight instead, or we save it?
We don't. This is not your show. Fuck you.
Oh, all right.
We did come up with a different game just for you, by the way. I think it was called Dan, or what was it?
I was gonna call it Dan or Clan, but then I was like, maybe it should be called G-Man or Clan, because it is they're quotes that are either from members of the U.S. government or Klan members.
Okay. I'm guessing they're all from the government. All the bad ones are from the government, and you found a couple decent KKK members that you quoted nice things that they said on.
No, they're all bad. It's like you know how you can like potentially pass a lie detector by making everything look like a lie by clenching your anus. Have you heard about this? I mean, John Odermatt had the guy on his show. You know what I'm talking about. So it's kind of like it's kind of like that, right? I just make all of them sound terrible, so you have no idea if it's the government or the KKK.
I like the premise, and Dan or Clan is better than what is it, Zion or Zyklon to Spike Cohen? That's
which, by the way, we told him afterwards that wasn't our first attempt at the for a title, and we have a much more worse title that we didn't use. So
one that sounds a lot better with Spike. So.
Spike and right.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like I said, I got kicked off of YouTube, or got completely demonetized for having a guy on to talk very seriously about a serious topic of something that rhymes with handy sook. And I have not made a dime off this channel since then. And so I guess we have nothing to lose except for another 30-day ban, and we will see. But anyway, let's see.
Which, by the way, you're really big into conspiracies, correct? That's from what I've gleaned from other people and you yourself.
Thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for mispronouncing the name of the show and never having listened to it. I appreciate you being here. You're like big timing me, and I've been doing this for like 6 years. And you're like on your phone under a freaking ceiling fan, and I've got hold on, this, and you're gonna come here and big time me. Oh, Josh did that too, actually, when he introduced me on the freaking Ryan Dawson and Dave Casey episode. He's like, he's got, or like maybe it was the day before. He said something like, "Oh yeah, Dan, he's got this podcast, like conspiracies and shit." It's like, motherfucker, whatever.
Well, I thought that I was going to a new metal show tonight, so I was very confused.
Fuck you, Toad. By the way, Toad, I met Toad at PorkFest, and when I met him at PorkFest, he came up to me and he said, "Hey, I'm Toad." And I'm like, okay. And he said, "I'm from Tower Power Hour." And I was like,
okay.
All right. Now, obviously, now that I know you, if I met you today in person, I would be like, please go away. Please leave me alone. Anyway, what were you saying, Dave?
So, two things. One, yes, I am using a phone because I've been too cheap because we haven't received the money that we've gotten on our show to buy, a fucking webcam and a nice mic. So, yes, I haven't done that yet. What was the other thing I was going to say? Are
you guys getting any of the money that we're sending to you, and myself incled, in these super chats?
It's literally Google's holding it for us right now until we finally get our AdSense figured out and actually be able to use it.
You'll never see that money, I promise.
It's being devalued as we speak. So.
Right, that's true. But as soon as you try to monetize, they're gonna be like, "Well, if you're making money off of us, let's see what you." Oh shit! Delete.
But the other thing was, it was funny because whenever I came into the Twitter sphere, like I was saying, I came from Instagram, and like all I knew was Dave Smith and Tom Woods, and so I come in here and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of other podcasts about libertarianism, and like this whole, and I was like, I didn't know. So whenever someone's like, oh, do you know this person? I'm like, no fucking clue, man.
Right.
Like it's,
and that's how it goes. And they're like reproducing like rabbits. Like when I came in, I was like, I feel like I don't know anybody, and the more I know. The more I know people's names and podcasts and shit like that, I hear like 10 more the next week come in like a flood, and I'm like, I'm out, guys. I'm out. I've got my.
I'm like, I can't listen to everything. I want to, but I can't. Right. I literally there's not enough time.
Right.
But what I was saying about conspiracy theories is because I went into a rabbit hole just literally last week of conspiracy theories, and it was a conspiracy theory iceberg that a guy on YouTube is going through, and god damn, it got me just. It like grabbed me, and I could not stop watching shit about conspiracy theories for like the last week. So
yeah. If you find like, where are you looking them up? Because back in my day, for us old folks, it was YouTube. You could go down the rabbit hole by clicking on this, and then it would recommend, oh, you like 9/11 stuff? You might like, Sandy Hook stuff or Flat Earth. Like it was that Wild West back in the day of YouTube's algorithm did what it's supposed to do, which is look at what you watch and recommend things that you might like instead of look at. Oh, you watched a thing on 9/11 conspiracy theories? Have you heard about Joe Biden?
Exactly.
Have you watched The Late Show with Conan O'Brien or whatever the fuck? Like, that's all you get now.
Do you like BuzzFeed? Because we have a lot of BuzzFeed that we can give you.
Have you heard of Liberty Mutual? I see you look up Liberty a lot.
No, it was this guy named Wendigoon, and like literally it was so funny because I was like, I saw him and he has like, some 300, 400, I think he has like 500,000 subs. And I was like, oh, he must have been doing this for a while. Like he started like in January, and he just did this like one conspiracy theory iceberg that he's going through, and it's getting millions of hits. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. So he does a really good job.
I'll check him out.
I'll send it, and it's just basically going through. I don't know. Have you ever seen iceberg videos? You know what those are, or what they are?
May have. I did a lot of, digging through all the conspiracy guys back in the day. I don't remember much of it though. I've
So
gotten
icebergs.
I've dried out a bit over the years thanks to YouTube, but it's probably for the best in some ways. But I miss it.
So basically, what an iceberg is it's supposed to show like how they say like the whatever the top of the iceberg above the water, like below it is way bigger.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what they're saying is like the top of like they have different phases of the iceberg, and the top phase is like, oh, everybody knows this. And then you go down to the bottom, it's just like only the extreme edgelords like know this shit. And
what's
so
at
like
the
he's
bottom?
going down through.
Is it just Jews really big?
It's the JQ.
There's been so many that I'm like, I've never heard of this, but it makes so much sense when you think about it. And like I even got to where I was going, man, this Hollow Earth thing sounds kind of legit.
Dude, I love the Hollow Earth. I love Flat Earth. I love all that stuff. I love digging into it, and it pains me to see like that we've gotten to this point where if you say, like, it's always been kind of demonized because the CIA is the one who came up with the term conspiracy theories to begin with, but it used to be that you could just dig into it and be like, wow, that's a fun thought experiment, and it would expand your mind, even if it's completely 100% bullshit. It's like watching a movie or playing a video game. You're just doing something that's expanding your mind and making you think about stuff and process, and it's good mental exercise to try and figure out what is true in the world. But now it's just like, if you don't agree with just like this % of the population, then you're a heretic, an anti-Semite, and a racist. So that's where we're at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, and there was like little like things in there, and it was just like this, there was this conspiracy theory about like the suburbs. It was just like they made the suburbs just to make everybody feel equal and get trapped inside the suburbs so that you have to, and everybody, like they wanted to make it look like you're part of this community, but everybody's the same. And like, you can't leave because if you leave, it'll let your friends, your neighbors down. I was like, man, that sounds like really legit. Like
have you driven through suburbs? Like all the houses look the same. All the soccer moms look the same. Like it's like Stepford Wives in real life.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe the conspiracy theory about being like planned and everything isn't right, but there is something there about this might be true. Like there's something to these. There's a kernel of truth in every one of these, and that kernel can be a lot bigger than other ones. But just saying like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, you think, you know, the flat Earth is like the biggest one. Somebody be like, oh, you're a flat earther, like you just like you're an idiot. It's just like, okay, well, I mean,
yeah.
There's something there at least. I think actually, didn't flat Earth start as basically like a 4chan troll that just kind of took a life its own, kind of like the birds aren't real? I remember that one too. That was really funny.
No. I mean, people believed in the flat Earth 400
That's
years
true.
ago. It was taught in school. Like it's a the globe theory, if you will, is a fairly new concept, and I'll say that at risk of like I've defended flat Earth. I went on Lines of Liberty and defended flat Earth against like 4 guys that I couldn't see and didn't know back in the day. So that's like one of my favorites. People that listen to the show know it's one of my favorites to dig into because it's fascinating. Just the thought experiment of like, if this is true, and I know people that are way smarter than me who know a lot more than I do who believe it wholeheartedly. So I'm like, if it is true, this is fun. Like, let's dig. Like, let's go there. So
yeah, B.O.B.
My favorite,
super intelligent.
Yeah.
my favorite is the birds aren't real. That one always makes me laugh.
That one is a troll,
like,
obviously. I've owned
that
a
one
bird.
is a troll.
I cut it open after it died. Couldn't find anything. So
Which, by the way, it was a troll that has taken its own life and is now people legit believe it. Like it's which is the best part of it, the best troll ever.
Yeah.
The thing about the birds is that they want you to believe the birds aren't real because the government drones are actually the mosquitoes.
Holy shit!
Think about it.
By the way, this is every episode. You probably know this, but this is every fucking episode that I have to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
Because like every so often, a blind squirrel finds a nut. He makes a great joke, and it kills.
He posts links on Twitter to our show real well, so I keep him around. And every now and then, he accidentally says something humorous or insightful. Yeah.
The autism really helps with all the tweeting and all the outreach of the show. So
Sure.
I keep him around for that.
So I am curious on a slightly more serious note. Like you guys are mostly, I guess, like surface level jokes and everything. Like no offense or anything, because there's definitely value to that and it's important in today's day and age. But like, what got you guys into like libertarianism and that type of thing? I know typically I wouldn't like asking that question to a libertarian because it's the go-to obvious question and that they've answered 1,000 times. But you guys being the, hey, we don't talk about it unless the conversation goes there. I don't know your story, so if you want to give a brief liberty history, go for it.
All right. Well, to some extent, I guess I kind of always was already a libertarian before I started looking into it, where I thought I was a Republican because I kind of just knew, I guess instinctively, that the left were retarded on economics. And I was like, this is all bullshit. Like, I can't be that. So maybe I guess I'm a Republican because I'm into, free markets and shit like that. And then I kind of had to gradually realize that that's not what they're about either. But back then, like when 9/11 happened, I was still a Republican, and I was swayed by the messaging then, and I was like, shit, like we have to go get these guys. I believed the lies at the time. Yep. Then I went to college, and I'm in Massachusetts, so I was with a bunch of people who saw through that shit, and I was like, oh, they're making good points. Like they might be right, but I just kind of was apolitical, I guess, for a while, just thinking, well, I'm probably a Republican, but this shit like doesn't really affect my daily life anyway, so whatever. And then I got to a point in 2016 when Trump came onto the scene, and I thought that Trump would be running as a Democrat because I thought that he was a Democrat from New York, which he was. People were like, no, he's a Republican, and like saying that he's a racist and all this shit. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So and then he kept like advancing in the polls and winning. I'm like, what is going on here? So I have to.
It is crazy that he went from hardcore Democrat to hardcore Republican, and somewhere in there became a racist. Like, you have to be a racist to be a Republican. He was just a Democrat last week, so was he a racist Democrat? Or is it okay for or is it possible for a Democrat to be racist? I don't know.
Well,
no, that's just the big switch,
Yeah, the Democrats. Well, they did historically have a lot of racists, right? Like Woodrow Wilson and Robert Byrd and all that shit. But no, so I started looking into it, and I thought that I was a libertarian. I was like, I'm not going to be voting for Trump. I'm definitely not going to be voting for Clinton and whatever else is going on. I was like, all right, I'm going to read up on this shit. Like, do I actually believe this? So I read Ron Paul's Revolution at that point finally, and I was, because I had missed like the Ron Paul campaigns, even though I felt that I like semi-agreed with what the Tea Party was doing at the time, but didn't really pay attention to it. I read that book, and I was like, man, like, I agree with everything Ron Paul is saying here. Yeah. So this must be what I am, a libertarian. And then I started getting into like the podcast, started listening to Lines of Liberty, Part of the Problem. And I was following the campaign at that point, and I became a big John McAfee guy. Mm-hmm. He was like my guy. I'm like, this guy is like the most interesting man in the world, and he's running for president right now. I'm like, I got to check this shit out.
And he's running as a libertarian. He's got similar principles to me, at least. Like, that,
yeah.
Like, I got into libertarianism around the 2016 campaign. I'm like, definitely not Donald Trump. Like, he got me interested because I'm like, this is fascinating. And then, I was kind of the same, where I was like, any one of these guys is going to be better than those guys. I know none of them are going to win, but if you like Donald Trump, come take a look at John McAfee, because he's an even crazier asshole, and he's got a lot of good principles, too.
Hey, if you like Trump getting peed on, you'll love John McAfee and what he does with his women.
The crack.
Just wait till you hear about the hammock and the whales, man.
Fucking the whales.
That's our president. That would be the most, good representation of our country right now if John McAfee was president. Like, just this crazy person shitting in hammocks and stuff like that.
Dude, it was so amazing. Imagine like saying telling a libertarian from I guess in 2008 or something. I mean, I don't know if John McAfee was as crazy back then as he was, in 2016. But by the way, Ron Paul's not going to win presidency, but John McAfee will. So just get ready for that. It's like.
Now I
watch their heads explode.
I like John McAfee in 2016 because he was crazy, and then it was dialed up to 15 for 2020 until his brain exploded. Yes. God only knows how. But rest in peace. Dave, did you give your backstory at all?
No, so mine's a little bit different because I didn't I grew up in a Christian conservative home, and so growing
my dad
up I
was a
pro
pastor.
Kid. My grandpa was a pastor, and
my grandpa was also a pastor.
Yeah, so you know how it is. It's that Christian conservative home where it's you vote hardcore Republican because they're against abortions. Like basically that's it. Like you'll learn a little bit about small like government and like I'm guessing some free markets, if you can call it that. So basically going all the way through high school until I got to college. And basically a buddy of mine who was a libertarian at that point is not anymore, unfortunately. But we went out to like Starbucks, or I think it was a Books A Million. And like he just sat me down, and I had already, talked to him about politics before, thinking I was all big and bad as a Republican, know everything. And I remember because we had an argument about like, should heroin be legal? And I was just like, hell no. Like and gave the arguments we all know about why. Yes, like literally all of those. Like it costs more to rehab them than it does to keep them in jail. Like all that bullshit. And he was just like, hey dude, just like, why do you believe like that? And I had to like explain to him. He's like, you literally just made no sense at all. Why do you believe that? And he took me.
Sounds like a libertarian to me. Why do you think that? Fuck you. That's stupid. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, basically. I basically got bullied into libertarianism. But no, like he took me through the Socratic method. And then after that, it was just like, okay, now I have to do this with everything. I cannot like, now it has to be, I need to be consistent, but also I need to know why I believe in these principles. And then that started me on, unfortunately, I went through like a Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder phase because they were libertarians. And then like through Instagram, there was a guy on there named Guns and Guillotines who's great. He might not be on there anymore, but he posted like, and at that time I was just listening to Ben Shapiro and I like podcasts. And so someone said, what's your favorite libertarian podcast? And he had Tom Woods on there. And I was like, well, I guess I'll check out this Tom Woods guy. And I listened to him, and that led me to the Monopoly on Violence. And that led me to Dave Smith.
Oh,
and then
wow.
from
So
there,
you're a
it was
baby.
just like,
you're
it was like,
okay.
Yeah, so it was from that. And so because, I mean, basically 2016 started listening to fucking Ben Shapiro. And then by, whenever Monopoly on Violence came out, that's when I really started getting into like ANCAP. And I was literally that like libertarian that was just like, once you become a minarchist, you're like 6 months away from being an anarchist. And that was literally me. Like exactly.
So was I, so was I, because of Dave Smith and Anatomy of the State.
Yeah, it's like once you hear it, like once you hear the ideas of libertarianism, it's like hard to deny once it's actually laid out, in my opinion. And we do a lot of we kind of really fuck it up for ourselves by overcomplicating things.
Yes.
I love the I think it's Matt Kibbe's I've got a shirt. What is it? Don't hurt people. Don't take their stuff. Just the really simple stuff like that. It's like if that's the opening to the conversation, it's really easy to explain. Go one thing at a time and lay it out for people. But we get into these really bad circle jerks of you know what it is.
You don't want to abolish the age of consent? What? No age of consent?
Let's lead with that. Let's lead with that.
Well, it's like those ones that really get people like age consent, free association really messes with people because they're just like, so you're racist. It's like, no, like I just like I don't think people should be forced to sell things to somebody they don't want to. I don't think black people
should have to associate with me. Like it goes both ways. I want to associate with them, but I don't think they should be forced to associate with me. I'm not a great person.
And the problem is like we'll get on that and like we'll get on these really weird things and or even with like conservatives, like we'll go, yeah, heroin should be legal, and they haven't even gotten to weed yet. They can't fathom weed, and we're just like heroin. Right. And it's just like, dude, like calm down. They're not gonna,
or like Dave Smith brings up
skip over.
Every now and then he'll bring up the and actually like I was new during this. I watched it happen in real time, that debate where they're like, what's next? The damn toaster thing with Daryl Perry or whatever. And hell no, Austin Peterson. We shouldn't need driver's licenses and stuff like that. It's like, I agree with you. Like looking back on it now, at the time I was young enough that I was like, yeah, we don't want them regulating our damn toaster. And now I'm like, that's such a stupid thing to say. Like on a national stage. No, that's not the next step to tyranny. Regulating your toaster, Daryl Perry. And he's now like, he used to be like hardcore anarchist, but seemed to. I don't follow him in any way, but I saw him. Like,
I was wondering where the guy went.
He's still around. I think he's still in New Hampshire. I think he might still be part of the Free State Project in some way. But he's like an SJW from what I can tell right now.
I heard
that immediately.
it doesn't matter at all, but I heard that he got married and then changed. So, Dave, you know how it is. Toad, you'll never understand that. But he did something with the LNC. Like, he weighed in for one of the candidates or something, and just him talking there, I was like, oh, you changed. I liked you better as the irrational autist than the rational one.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when it came out, whenever that video came out of, like the Auspeter Hell No, and like my friends who aren't libertarians at the time sent it to me, and they're like, look at these fucking idiots in the Libertarian Party. It's like,
yes.
while Trump is debating Hillary, these guys are talking about toasters. It's like, yeah,
they're still better, though. I mean...
Yeah,
I would rather have the irate autist going no toasters than than the people arguing over which country to bomb next. So
exactly.
Well, yes, they're retarded, and those guys are monsters. So I'm not an ableist. I'm not against retards. So
which, by the way, the best part of that too was when Gary Johnson was just like, I think we may need some identification to drive, and then they booed him. That's the best part of the video was that everybody booed Gary Johnson.
This thing that's like widely accepted by 99% of the population, and you're gonna go boo? No.
It's like there'd be private licenses, okay, man? We have to explain that.
Right. Yep.
Which, by the way, when people ask me about that too, like I just go, I just think of it as the government owns the roads. It's their property, so they can give whatever thing they want to do on it. I know it sucks,
but we pay for the roads, Dave. Who pays for the roads?
Yeah, exactly.
Who built the roads, Dave? Dave.
Okay,
Dave, who built the roads?
Yeah, fuck you, man. I can go shit in the road if I want to.
Who owned the boats? Who owned the boats, Dan? Who owned the boats?
Not me. I'm not asking for boats, man. I'm asking for my fucking roads I paid for, bro. Come on. Get your libertarian philosophy together or whatever.
Well, the government controls the waterways too, though. Haven't you read For New Liberty? Privatize the waterways and the airspace, man.
No. I have these libertarian books all over the place that I've gotten from, like, at festival. Like, I bought Anarchist Handbook for obvious reasons. I've read, like, a chapter and a half. I've got, like, other ones that I picked up at PorkFest, and they will sit there on my desk pretending like they're going to be read. And they will never be touched, I promise.
Yeah, like I got economics in one lesson from a guy in the LP, and I was like, yeah, I'll totally read this, and I literally just said it on my desk.
As somebody who is undiagnosed but definitely adult ADHD, I have trouble reading. I have to read a page like 4 or 5 times before, because I have to absorb all the information, and if I lose my thought a little bit, I'm like, I gotta go back and reread it. And just because if I'm reading, I want to know exactly what I read. And that one has kept my attention longer than any book has in a while. It's actually extremely well written and very dumbed down enough for the layperson to understand some nice economic stuff. So I would recommend it, even though the cover sucks. I'm just gonna say that as a design guy.
The cover is ass.
Yeah. In the reverse, the Anarchist Handbook cover is spot on. Amazing. And it's dry as fuck. So there's that.
Well, it sucks. Well, the problem with the Anarchist Handbook is it's these people's writings, so it's like however good they are. So I mean, if you're not going to read their book, you're probably not going to be captivated with just a little bit of it.
We're buying it because we love Michael Malice, and he has like a chapter or like a paragraph in his own book, and then it's just a bunch of dead people. Great.
There's just a bunch of Ace Arcus quotes. So.
No, I think it's great. I think it's awesome that I look forward to reading more of it. But yeah, it is hard, especially to keep the focus when it's like one style and you finally get into the groove of that style of writing, and then it switches to somebody else from 100 years ago or 50 years ago or whatever. So
yeah, and switch to Rothbard. He's the most entertaining one in there.
Yeah, Rothbard's easy to read. Rothbard, I had no problem reading him.
I think we need like a chart made for like newbies that's like, here's where you start and then you advance to this. If you make it through these books, you go to this. Because it's daunting, especially like for me getting into the libertarian stuff, hearing all these people talk about all these great minds and they wrote all these books and this, and you have to start here or you have to do that. It's like, I'm not going to do any of those things. So I hope you talk about it on your podcast a lot, because that's where I'm getting my information. So,
dude, that's been me. I don't know if I used to love to read when I was young. I read so much, but now I just don't read. And so I'm like, everything I've learned is either through audiobooks, which I listen like, or lectures or podcasts. Like I'll listen to, what's his name? Well, Tom Woods give lectures, and Bob Murphy, like Chaos Theory. I'll listen to Chaos Theory. I listen to him talk about it over and over again. I love that lecture he does.
Yeah.
But like to sit down and read, you know, even just like read Ayn Rand's like The Fountainhead or something like that. Like I'm not gonna read it. Like even though it's like so good, and I know it's not necessarily theory, but it's supposed to be like, you know, a super great book and what somebody would, but I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, it's fiction, and that one's probably like 1,000 pages, right?
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like fiction, I have an even harder time with because I'm like, am I gonna get it by the end, or are you just telling me a fun story? Because I'm not here for entertainment. Like I'm here if I'm going to put forth the effort of reading something, which is unlikely to begin with, then I better be taking something away from it other than just a fun, flowery story. So.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm not writing book reports anymore, man. I got done with that years ago. So it's like...
Yep, exactly. So
I think, it's social media that is the cause of that, really, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
It has not helped me in any capacity whatsoever, other than the show. That's a great segue. This show has done well on social media until they kicked me off of all of it because I said QAnon too many times. Which was another, the QAnon stuff is such bullshit because I didn't really believe it that much anyway. I wanted it to be true. And I was like, I had my other autistic friend dig into it because he was really into it. I'm like, share the information because I want to know. And the whole time I was really skeptical that Donald Trump, if we're going to have somebody in power that is the savior of all, it's going to be Donald Trump. Like, nah, too far. But
dude,
go ahead.
It is crazy that like YouTube basically outlawed just the letter Q. Like you even couldn't say just the letter Q at all.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. And here's the thing, the weird thing about whenever they do censorship like this is it doesn't really help dispel what these people are saying, even if they're like,
it makes it worse because people want to know.
It makes it totally worse. Yeah. It's like why do you need to silence them? Do they have something that you don't like? Like, or maybe not even like, but do they have something true that's like going to hurt y'all? Because if it's not true, then there should be no problem dispelling it easily.
Right. These people have something that's so stupid and so obviously not true, but we need to make sure nobody sees it. Like, if it's so stupid and obviously not true, I don't know. Like, who are you to decide whether it is anyway? Like, assuming this grand hypothetical that Donald Trump was leaking out information to the people in this attempt to who the hell knows? Like back in the day, it had nothing to do with an insurrection or anything like that. It was just he was a guy. He was a guy that was there to do the thing that he said he was going to do in his campaign, and he's secretly letting some people know. Doesn't seem like that big a deal, but if you ban him from all these platforms, and which my very conspiracy brain goes to, they banned him from all that so that you would believe that stuff more and dig into it more because it's a psyop anyway. And this whole thing has completely disarmed so many people because they're just sitting around thinking the plan is going to happen. We're going to stick to it and we're going to trust it. We're going to trust that somebody in government has our best intentions in mind for the first time ever, just randomly. And we're not going to take up arms because the plan is... It's here comes the storm cracking or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's more likely that Trump was controlled opposition than whatever the hell Q was talking about here.
Yeah, I posted Donald Trump was an inside job.
Dude, it's so crazy because the conspiracy theories like this, like you said, could they have actually shut him down because they wanted more people to look into it because then they could just like say they're being crazy. Like it gets really meta like that. Like I remember seeing in that conspiracy theory iceberg was the Illuminati is actually good, is a conspiracy theory. It's like because everybody's saying they're so bad, but there's a conspiracy they're actually they're actually the good guys trying to stop the government.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But is that what the Illuminati wants you to believe?
Right.
Wait a minute. But do the Illuminati do they have the same logo as like the Pinkerton guys? I don't remember. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass right now. Maybe there's something to this. All right. I don't mean Weezer either.
Shave your ass. Don't talk out of it. All right?
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but I remember seeing that Illuminati thing, and it made me laugh because it was like they're either good or they're bad, and they want you to think they're good, or it's just and it just continues to go down this like
all the things, all like Freemasons are good or they're evil. Like there's some people that think they're amazing, and it's like you just have to get off the train at some point. And I had somebody say that to me in the beginning, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll let you know. And at some point, I'm just like, okay, now we went from the earth is flat because God is here and this and all this Christian theology stuff. And now we're to the point where it's like, well, all of Christianity is actually this facade and this psyop to get you to stop to think that the devil is bad when he's actually, okay, guys, pump the, like, I don't know where this ends. I can't believe everything. I can't even believe anything at this point. I don't believe anything that you guys are saying. Like I do kind of fall back on my religious upbringing a little bit. Like I've gone through bouts of that, but I do still believe that there is a creator of some sort. I think that all of us have no idea exactly what that is, so us fighting about it is kind of stupid. But it's there's a lot to it. But like I had friends that were digging into like, well, the whole Bible is actually inverted as well. And I'm like, I know that is very compelling and that could be true and that's fine. But I think whatever created me, if something created me, it understands me having a hard time processing this. And I don't think this is the key. So I could be wrong, but you got to get off the train at some point. Otherwise, it's just like a spiral of madness.
Yeah, that's pretty cool because like I know Toad is also a Christian and I am too, so it would be pretty fun just to kind of talk about all this because what's really weird is when you grow up Christian conservative, like they definitely do not talk about certain things that are definitely in the Bible, and it's just like, well, why don't, I mean, either you don't want to talk about it because you think it's too edgy for church. It's like, but you also say the whole Bible's breathed by God and is profitable for,
and it can never be changed. Nothing can be added or taken away. However, we've reinterpreted it 250,000 times. I'm sure a couple of things were lost in the translation. Just the fact that it's in English now proves that it's not infallible.
Yeah, and there's just so many things in there that they're like you'll ask them on, they're like, we don't really talk about that. It's like, well, I mean, it's in there. Like,
that's
and
a problem.
It's like you should be able to talk about it. And there's
we don't talk about that word of God, just this word of God over here. That makes sense to us right now.
Yeah. We like the love parts, not the parts where like God killed millions of people. Don't worry about that part.
Old Testament. The Old Testament doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we could easily do an entire episode just on theology and stuff like that, because I mean that's what my show is all about, is the conspiracies, the politics, and the religion, because they're all, when I started it, they were three different things that I liked talking about that made people uncomfortable. Now they are all literally one and the same. You can't have politics without religion, you can't have religion without conspiracy, you can't have conspiracy without politics, and you can't, they're all the exact same thing at this point. So it's fun, and I am down if you guys want to do this again at some point. Are you guys good for, we're pushing close to an hour and a half now. Are you good for sticking around doing some bonus?
Sure, man.
I'm down. Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, we can wrap. Let's give it another 10 or so, but we'll jump out of here. What are we at? Yeah, we'll jump out around close to 8:30 or so. So let's talk a little bit more about the trolling stuff and that, because you guys, like I said at the beginning, you guys went from just guys commenting on other people's stuff to the guys that people are commenting on. Is it strange, and do you realize that it's a very risky line that you're pushing here, to where all of your monetization, all of your wealth, power, and influence, let's say, is in YouTube, and they are not going to like you for long, because I have found that out, and I talk about things seriously. Maybe that's my problem, and I've had some bad guests on, and by bad I mean YouTube deemed them bad, but they seem to give me a strike.
You mean?
Well, yes, this will be the final nail in the coffin, but I am on Odyssey, so go check that out. But yeah, I don't remember what I was asking.
Yep. Which, by the way, we're on Odyssey, we're on Spotify, we're on everything now, and the YouTube thing was just out of convenience. What'd you say,
Yeah.
Toad?
Except Stitcher, apparently, because I guess are they competing with Anchor now or something? I don't fucking know. We're on Anchor, so we're on Spotify, iTunes, whatever the hell else, Google, and YouTube and Odyssey.
Yeah, and it is kind of like, so we built it on YouTube and we're monetized right now and we're getting money. But since it was never really about, like, when we started this, we were not planning on getting big. We're not planning on getting any money out of it. We like, whenever somebody gives us something, we'll say thank you. But like when someone gave like $100, we're like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't give us money like that. Like,
we're not even ever going to see that money. Stop throwing it to YouTube.
And it's like, and so if we get demonetized, like, we both have jobs, we both work, we both do have good careers, and so like this is just something we do on the side, unless something can happen. And we've talked about with some other guys like Clint from Liberty Lock Pod, like, listen, maybe we do some type of network, do some type of podcast network where we don't have to worry about these people taking our stuff down. So there's that. The other part, like, it is kind of weird going from the ones doing the trolling.
Just rip off one more thing and make it worse.
Hell yeah. And the other thing was like seeing like us become from the, like, which Toad was already had, like, when he started, whenever I got in, he had already like 3,000 fucking followers on Twitter, so he was already kind of big-ish. But
I still don't even know how that happened, because I've really only been doing like Liberty Twitter stuff since 2020, even though my Twitter's existed since 2009. I think I was sub 1,000 followers at the time, and I was doing mostly like sports shit, kind of like you were, because I do sports.
You guys are so gay.
I do sports betting as well. So.
Dude, are you not into sports? I love it. I love it.
Dude, I've got like friggin' R2D2 on my arm. I've got like Star Wars shit all over. Do you think I'm into sports? Look at me. Dude, does this look like the sports guy?
I'm into
look at that. I got Star Wars on the wall.
Of course, in fairness, if I looked at you guys, I certainly wouldn't have assumed you were into sports either. So it is what it is. But no, I don't care at all about sports, but it's fine. I'm also not the dick that goes on in sports balls everyone and complains when they like something that I don't.
But it's also really weird just like going from, and this is not bragging, but from the guy that like comments on everything to having people comment on your shit and like be like, or today some people figured out that there's a fat, like, oh, you were doing it, you motherfucker. A fat comic Dave.
Fat Dave.
And I was like, that's not me. Somebody else made a parody of me.
Yeah. You're just really bad at making sock accounts, is my assumption. You just made a sock account and made it slightly worse than yours and assumed that people wouldn't notice. Cool.
I run 3 Twitter accounts, which is Fat Dave, the Tower Gang, and then I run Noda for POTUS, which I made after Nick Starwer got noted in New Hampshire. That's Vermont, wherever he got fucking noted.
New Hampshire, yeah.
That's the only.
Did you just dox your socks, man? You doxing your socks?
Yeah, I don't care. I've said it. Like, and
everybody knows
my original,
that's what they are.
Yeah, a lot of people know this. My original is gone. I had to shut that one down after it got doxed, so you don't have to worry about finding that one. I'm not really worried about that. And plus, I'm at a new work now. Even if I get doxed, they wouldn't give a shit. So
cool.
But yeah, it is weird, and just like we were not, like, I'll tell you, like, we were not into, like, people said like, oh, you're trying to clout chase, or you're trying to grift. It's like we weren't planning on making any money.
Yeah.
We didn't plan to get any type of following. Right. Like, we were expecting 2 people to watch this stupid shit.
Right. Well,
like,
clout
maybe
chasing
live viewers.
Clout chasing, as you know, is having somebody bigger than you on your show because you think it might get you. Of course, I want to get more people to listen to this thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. So, of course, the natural way to do that is by getting people who have followings to come listen to your show. But I wouldn't expect people who are too retarded to understand how capitalism works to understand how that works either.
Which also, it goes into the whole trolling thing of, like, we did get big people on our show because we trolled them. Like, because we bullied them, we bullshitted with them, we made fun of them, and then they were like, oh, like, this is with Shoe on Head, and we asked her, like, why'd you want to come on the show? And she was like, y'all seem fun. Y'all just seem like a fun group. that.
Yeah, I love
and-
that. And she disagrees with you completely on politics. I think that's awesome.
100%.
And that's a better way to spread liberty than going, I'm a libertarian podcaster. Would you like to come talk about liberty and how you disagree with me on my libertarian podcast? Like, no, I want to come hang out with some dudes because that's what humanity is. We're not actually like theology and shit. We just want to have human interaction.
Right. You need to ask women to sell them your bathwater in tower
Yes,
form.
exactly.
That's how you get them on.
Yes.
Noted.
And what's crazy?
Noted.
Well, and what's crazy is like, not really crazy, but apart from libertarians, a lot of people don't like to debate, like actually how libertarians do, where we just fucking scream at each other and say you're a statist and that you're an idiot. Like, a lot of people don't like to do that. They would much rather come on, have a couple laughs, maybe talk about some politics, but, you know, hear each other out. And if you can start with, let's have some fun, let's laugh, let's make some jokes, and then you get into, okay, what do you think about, you know, capitalism? I mean, we with the shoe one, we went like capitalism, and then when we had on Dave, like we talked about, I mean, that was a little bit different because he's libertarian, but he's bigger than us, like way bigger than us. And we never thought we'd get him on.
It's like if you were hanging out at a bar and you met somebody new who believes something different. You're not going to open with, have you met our Lord and Savior, the Nap? You're going to open with, hey, what you drinking, bud? And you're going to bullshit about some things you have in common, and then maybe eventually you'll talk about politics, because it always comes to that if you're autistic enough to be a libertarian.
Yeah, a lot of it is joking around, and like we want to focus on things that we have in common too, like you said, which even with Shu, like we do share similar politics in a way, like on the civil rights side, or, you know, like I would consider her to be a good leftist. So she is anti-war. She's pretty anti.
You mean
like
the good leftist?
Yeah, the COVID regime.
The one and only.
There might be like 5. You got like Jimmy Dore and people like that.
That's true.
Yeah, like she disagrees with us on economics and then agrees with us on like the civil rights shit, basically, is how I would put it.
Yeah.
And at the end, she was just like, well, I mean, if y'all want to go and do your thing and then you just let us do our thing, I think we could be fine with that.
Right.
We're like, yeah, that's what we want.
Right.
Like, we never...
Exactly.
That's
It's anarchy,
the very abridged version of this long diatribe that we've been on for 70 years is we just want to be left alone and we want to leave you alone. And that's it. So who
we
can
don't
disagree
care
with that?
if you have we don't care if you have a commune. Go ahead.
Right.
Starve yourself. We don't care.
Even if you guys think we're racists, which we're not, but even if we were, just leave us alone, because obviously you should leave us alone. We're assholes that have terrible ideas, but I don't know. We'll leave you alone to be a racist as well.
It's a very weird thing, and I that they literally think, I mean, this is just Republican Democrat thing now, but like they call all the Republicans racist or white supremacists, but then they're still like, but we want to have the country together with you. For some reason, they're like, 80 million people are racist and terrible, but you cannot leave this country.
Right.
Or, damn it, we'll kill you.
You are locked into this contract that you did not agree to? Yes. We disagree on everything, but we want you to have a say in what we do with our money. Great idea, guys. Let's see how that goes.
Or now it's with the unvaccinated, so they think that the people who are unvaccinated will literally kill them, and they still don't want them to secede from them. It makes sense.
Yep. I guess we solved it, guys. Let's get a divorce and split up. And great, cool.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about libertarian podcasts is literally after every episode we're like, well, we just solved that issue.
We got to go through all the waves.
The
how did you discover liberty? We got to talk about Hitler at some point. We're gonna get there. Don't worry. But and then it eventually gets to this where we are now. But we didn't have as many technical issues as I was expecting for a libertarian podcast, though. But it went okay. I mean, all things considered, I don't know what I was expecting out of this, but thank you guys for being here and being clothed. That's a start.
Thanks for having us, man. Yeah, I was thinking, well, you don't know if I'm actually clothed. I might be shirt dicking right now. You don't know.
Yes,
also,
which
by
I
the way-
learned today what the definition of shirt dicking is, and
Which, by the way, I do
feel
love
like a
when
better
people
man
have us
for
on there think that we're just going to be like saying the N-word and like cunt and all this stuff just nonstop.
Yeah.
Like whenever it's like,
Yeah.
no, I think we could tone it down. Like we both work corporate jobs.
Right. And that's the thing. That's like the huge misconception. It's like we are people telling jokes for a living. Like Dave Smith is telling jokes for a living. You guys never will, obviously, but you guys are telling jokes for entertainment, and it's like, so these are jokes, and you know that we exist in normal life as well. We're going to leave here. We're going to interact with people. We don't drop the N-bomb just for, I don't know, for shits and giggles at the bank or something. We have lives as well.
I'm not in Walmart just walking around like, look at that one. Like, it's not happening. Unless they do look really weird, then I will be like, hey, babe, I'll turn my wife like, hey, look at that one right there.
Yeah, but I do appreciate it. I appreciate the foul humor, and I'm not like a big. I've said on my show several times, like I'm not a big like sex joke fan. I just don't. I'm not into that. I think it's to a line, and you guys pass that line all the time, and I don't get offended by it. I don't care. You're telling fucking jokes. Some jokes aren't funny. All Toad's jokes aren't funny. It doesn't matter. I'm still gonna listen sometimes.
So wait, we don't get to know what your dick to ass ratio is then?
God damn it!
I still don't understand what you're going for, but no. No. Or my medical history of any kind. Thank you. I assume that you are a CIA plant for asking me those invasive questions. So, guys, I appreciate your humor. I appreciate you coming here and, being honest about the stuff. I totally get it. I know most people are too dense to even understand what you're doing, but I dig the show, even the parts that I disagree with. And, keep doing what you're doing. But give all your plugs, give all your shout-outs and everything that you want to do.
Hell yeah. I'm Toad, Anarcho_Toad on Twitter, Tower Power Hour, obviously. Coming up next week, Monday, we got, who is it again? Lord Visconti, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like the amount of respect that you have to learn their names almost.
We got Lord Visconti and we got Josh Denny on Thursday next week. So those are the upcoming shows that we got. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, that I'm Fat Comic Dave on Twitter, which, by the way, I did want to make this one more point because Norm Macdonald died. I loved him. But like you were saying, like some people are too dense to get the joke. Yeah. And like Norm Macdonald is the like idol of that, of like where he's so good that people don't get the joke. Like there was that whole, if you go watch the roast of Bob Saget to see him doing a bit and people not getting the joke. And that just, we're nowhere level on Norm Macdonald, but that's kind of how I feel sometimes. Like some people just don't get the joke, and it's okay because they don't even get a professional comedian's joke. So it's not going to get everybody. But yeah, Fat Comic Dave on Twitter, and then Tower Gang Pod on Twitter, and then Tower Power on YouTube, and then who's the next? Like I guess Josh Denny is the next big one we have coming up. And then if you don't know, Lord Visconti is a guy that was in Afghanistan and he stayed after we left. So we wanted, that one might not be so.
You left?
It might
I didn't know you were there. Cool. Is that like sports teams? Yeah, we won, guys. We did it.
Yes.
We didn't win this one though.
It's so funny. It's like we literally like scored a bunch of runs and then like they just blew us out in the 9th inning, and we're like, well, we scored more than them, so we technically won, through the first 8 innings. But no, we lost that fucking war. We got kicked out of Afghanistan for 20 years to some fucking camel herders.
Yeah, we got evicted from our own country.
It was unwinnable, man.
Yep. All right, well,
thanks
guys.
for having us on, Dan.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and,
thank you, man.
Stick around. We'll do some bonus after. And if you guys want bonus stuff, if you want to hear how much worse this could possibly get, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/The System Is Down for as little as like $5 a month or something. We'll get you all the bonus every single week, except for last week because I was busy. But you're going to get a big dump of everything I recorded last week here in the very near future, if you are in the Downers Club for sure. And we're going to talk about some more conspiracy shit. We're going to talk about some more uncomfortable, offensive stuff over in the Downers Club. Patreon.com/The System Is Down. But to all of you guys who are listening, go out and be decent humans and be smart enough. Just be smart enough to look at visual cues and understand, is it us that's autistic for making the joke, or you that's autistic for not understanding social cues? That's kind of on you at some point. If you don't see that somebody is smiling and other people are laughing around you, that's kind of your problem. And that's how jokes work. So, yeah, guys, go check out Tower Gang Podcast, and don't blame me if you do, but stick around. We're going to... Actually, don't stick around. Go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/The System Is Down. And where's my outro button? Thank you. Question everything. Stay uncomfortable. Be weird. Have fun. Be bad. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace out.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe on your way out and help us change the world one uncomfortable conversation at a time. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, go join the Downers Club at patreon.com/The System Is Down for bonus episodes of the show every single week. Until next time, please continue to question everything, stay uncomfortable, and I'll talk to you then. Thanks.
This has been a Goulash Media production. goulashmedia.net.
This concludes our broadcast day. Click.